What is going on, guys? It's Dealer here back again with yet another RDX podcast with a phenomenal panel. Shady isn't here. I think he's not feeling too great right now. And, he's not here. So he might pop in, he might not. But in the meantime, we got some phenomenal panel members. And I want to start with some introductions. We got a ton of great topics. As usual, we will ramp up through them as we go. Let some people file in. Thank you guys for showing up early. You guys are awesome. Colt, man, how you been since last week?
Why do you always pick me first? Awesome. Been racking up a bunch of games. Bought a bunch of games on the Ultimate Sale, which I don't know if we'll cover that today, but just no summer drought for me. I've got lots to play.
Good. We've also got D Batch, man. How you been, brother?
I've been good, man. Like I was telling you before we got on the air, man. Just been busy building all these PCs, man. And thankfully, we got some news to talk about this week.
We did, even though we all talked about a lot of it yesterday. Now we've seen the results of the news, and that's really what we're focusing on today. A lot of paranoia, a lot of fear-mongering from a bunch of idiots that don't even understand a lot of how like people are trying to compare it to PS now and stuff. We're going to get into all that. If you're not for digital, that's fine. You know, there's tons of people that aren't. If you are, this is an option. We're going to go into all kinds of cool stuff. So we've also got Noof Nukem. Thank you so much for joining us again, man.
Boom, boom, kaboom. Physical disc motherfucker in the room. Yes, indeed. Here on the RDX podcast. Always excited to be as a guest on this particular show. One of the best damn podcasts going, period. I just put that out there for
on
you guys.
On a Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, right?
Definitely on a Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So sit back, relax, hold on to your pantyhose. It's going to be a good show, guys. We have a great panel. Awesome chat. Let's roll.
Thank you so much. And we got K Mega back again. It's been a minute, bro.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it has. Glad to be back. Yes, man. You know, K Mega 405 is doing it live, and we're here. And yeah, man, big shout out to my family out there at GRG Podcast. Come and check us out, man. We do our thing, man.
Yep, GRG. I've been there before. Pretty good show. You know what? We've got so much stuff to talk about today. Anything from No Man's Sky next, which is apparently, according to what I'm seeing from a lot of people that play the first one, a big leap over the first one at launch. I know both versions. The original has caught up to this one. They've all been updated, but it's launching on the Xbox One today, and we'll be talking about anything from that to the new Scarlet Cloud and all the fear mongering and explain to people certain perspectives and things like that, and so much more. But as usual, got to pay the bills first, starting with the RDX sponsors. John Yoon, Mel S, Chief Exec. We got the Darj. Nice. Shout out to you, buddy. Early Mendenhall. We got Guillermo Cavillo. We've got Biggie 2316, and we've got Lethal Papa in the house. Thank you guys for powering the show. If you want to check out the link down below in the description and become a sponsor, win some games and more, check out that Patreon link after the show. And you know what? Let's jump right into No Man's Sky next. A small topic. Let some people file in. You know what? I got a chance to boot this up for a minute. Anybody else get to?
Nope.
No, we had to do the show. I got home and I'm like, yeah, I'm just ready to
well, okay, maybe we can.
There's people that has jobs, Dealer.
Whatever. Maybe some people in the chat can comply here. So I've gotten a chance to boot it up, and I can say it looks damn good on the Xbox One X for what type of game it is. It does have 60 frames, 1440p mode as well, which is pretty nice. Keep in mind, when you switch to performance mode, you have to restart the game for that to take effect. So keep that in mind. When you switch in game, you're not going to see it. You're like, I can't see the difference. Yeah, it's because you got to literally shut it down, boot it back up to see the 60 frames. And that took me a minute to figure out. And I guess it's kind of like complicated Minecraft on crack so far. Like I said, I don't know what the difference is between the launch version and this one. I hear that it's significantly better. Like even the addition of co-op changes the game entirely.
They've added rover vehicles, a third-person view mode. They've added building where you can base build on the ground, and they've added some more interaction with people online. So I'm curious to see what they've added. I got to try it at launch on PC, and I've said it before. I played like 30 or 40 minutes and was not impressed at all. So
it was really bare, and I booted it up, and it gave me the option to co-op right off the bat.
Oh,
so
cool.
I'm guessing that by itself, because before they tried lying and saying it was multiplayer, but you'd never find each other. There was no way to find each other, and two people even went as far to meet up on the same planet in this massive galaxy and they were in the same exact spot by this pole or something, and they couldn't see each other. So they just lied about multiplayer before and then patch it in.
I want to do like a little public service announcement, because back in 2016, I was one of the many that was making fun of Hello Games and all the, kind of joining in and making fun of what they were doing. But it looks like they poured a lot of stuff into it over the past couple of years. And my game share partner and I got the game, and I just wanted to kind of give them a chance to to apologize for being look at your game sucked. but I saw what they did with showing the new trailer, and I just kind of want to give them a good shot. And for $50, why not? I'll support what they're doing. We'll see how it turns out.
Well, I'm not going to apologize for them releasing an unfinished turd that and then lying on top of that. But what I will say is that from what I hear, it's significantly better. Like I said, I'd imagine the co-op alone changes everything. And I'm kind of a little bit into it. And I guess we'll see. I'll kind of check back next week and kind of give an impression of it. But anybody else plan on grabbing it before we move on to the next topic?
Nope.
No, but I did have it on the PS4, and while I didn't think it was a necessarily terrible game, I mean, I didn't buy it on day one, so I didn't have to deal with as many problems. I just found the game, there was something extremely dull and missing about it. I couldn't put my finger on it per se, but there was potential there. And I just wanted to say kudos to Hello Games for, I guess, believing in their game enough that they just didn't walk away, give up with it, take the money and run kind of thing, that they stuck with it for a while. And basically now it's starting to sort of become the game they more or less promised it to be. And I mean, it might still be a ways out, but it's a good start. I think the only thing right now, I think the biggest problem is that weird price. I mean, it's so drastically more money on the Xbox than what it was, or I think you can pick up a cheap copy on the PlayStation. So it's just the price seems a little bit outrageous right now. But
yeah, the 20 versus 50.
Is there DLC in the new one?
Yeah, it's all included, I think, as well. So
I'm guessing they're giving you some digital goods that would have costed you at least that additional money on the PlayStation with the Xbox version.
To me, it sounds like they're trying to recoup some of those losses off of the Xbox players with that $50 pack. It should be an option. You should be able to get the $20 version too. Come on.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. Like, I mean, I am. It's like what Noof said. I'm appreciative that they stuck with it. They kept doing what they promised. They got into their true vision. But as for me, I've been made this plea for forever. I said, look, I'm not buying the game. I'm not spending one dime on it. So the only way that I'll get a hold of it if it goes on Game Pass eventually, or if I kamooch it. And I don't think I'll get either one on this one. So I just have to just say, hey, look, I'll believe you. That's it.
I'll believe you.
Yeah, I believe you.
Well, hey, it is an option if you want to check it out. It does support 60 frames at 1440 or native 4K. It's also HDR as well, and it is available starting today. Not enough experience, but I will say what's up to the people in the chat. In the meantime, Luca, what's going on? Lethal Papa, Invader, all you guys, thank you guys so much for showing up. 2K Games are looking at expanding their portfolio with games that have long engagement, aka everything Grand Theft Auto Online. I don't know how I feel about this.
What?
Yeah, like they're looking to build more. I know it's the future, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right thing to do for me, from my perspective. I feel like when you set out to build a game with long engagement is the thing they pointed out. That's their sole goal. And I'm sure they'll build a great game around that model, but why not allow developers to just make what they want? Like if you join a Halo team, you did it willingly, right? And you can leave whenever you want. If you don't want to work on Halo, don't go there. But other than that, there are other studios, they're working on whatever they want to work on. Whereas 2K are making $700 million a quarter off of GTA Online to this day.
Yeah.
And now they're designing all the rest of their games to have GTA Online type microtransaction trash, you know?
And they're not done with GTA Online. I just saw an advert the other day for the Ballad of Gay Tony. He's coming back to GTA. I think it releases on the
really
in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Man, D, I know you'll pre-order that bitch.
I was surprised. Like this game has been out how many years and they're still releasing DLC? I was shocked.
It's smart. I mean, that's why they're going to do it, and they're going to milk the hell out of Red Dead Redemption. So I mean, you might as well just get the deluxe edition. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to pay the $100 and just ride with it. Anything else, I'm not paying extra for.
Yep. They found a way to raise the price of games after all.
Exactly.
Noof, do you get what I'm saying though? Designing a game around a concept like that.
Well,
Yeah,
it made them so
yeah.
much money though at the same time. So, although I don't agree with it, they want to make money. Sorry, my bad.
Noof, what were you saying there? You sounded weird for a second.
No, it's all good, man. Like I totally understand where people are going. I think we're going to see the industry slowly shift, at least for some titles, toward that sort of development cycle where they're just going to try to milk and make as much money as it can off of a particular title without always having to reinvent the wheel, right? Because it gets really costly. The development cycles are becoming longer. The money is costing way more to develop a game. I mean, you see like games like Grand Theft Auto 5, which, I'm sure was intended to sort of be kind of a one and done, but all of a sudden turned into its own juggernaut and just kept on rolling and still rolling. I mean, the game came out in 2013. 5 years later, it's still on top of the top selling games, and its DLC and its shark cards are just making money hand over fist for Rockstars. So I mean, yeah, why wouldn't people start to kind of borrow that?
Let me tell you how bad it is, Snoof. I'm actively rooting against Grand Theft Auto now because it's been on top for so long. I'm getting tired of seeing it up there. There are so many other great games people aren't buying, like Wolfenstein 2, right? Like there's some phenomenal masterpieces out there, and they're playing GTA Online over and over and over and over and over. It's like, what the fuck? Play something different. So
it's just one of those things. Like, okay, this is what Phil Spencer got crucified for, was bringing up about that Xbox was going to go this direction with a lot of their content. And as we see, EA, I've been nervous about EA. I've been talking about EA here lately about what they did with Visceral Games, exactly what they've been doing out here with Mass Effect. Don't even know if Mass Effect will have an opportunity to come back because of what happened with Andromeda. I think that most of these companies are starting to slowly get away from the single player experience, because if you want bigger and better, they're going to cost a lot more. And if gamers keeps on complaining, saying they don't want to buy DLC or they don't want this, they don't want that, then this is really the only option that they're going to get, because they want to recoup money. They want to please their publishers. And it's unfortunate because I don't like it. I want to see a Mafia 4 or et cetera coming from 2K or another BioShock. But if gamers keep on buying this stuff, then it's the only person that we got to point at is us.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I understand the business aspect. Like many things, I understand the business aspect. People are like, well, they're making money. Well, I'm not part of that company. Like, I don't give two shits. Like, how does it benefit me? Not much. It doesn't really. So I'm not a big fan of this. We'll see how they implement it. But at the end of the day, it's so 2K at the end of the day. I guess we'll see how they do this in Rockstar's game. Maybe they can make the online portions more engaging, because I think GTA Online is just, I don't know why that thing's still rolling downhill like it is.
But that's a good question. Like, who is playing this? Because I've got hundreds of people on my friends list, and I think I've seen one person play it in the last 6 months. Like one. So I'm like, who is playing this game?
Oh man, my boy Flip Money, he got a crew and they play it almost every day. And so they're like, I see quite a few people on my list that still play GTA. I mean, the online is dope. I haven't played GTA in about 2 years. I will say though, the online, there is a lot of variety though. There's a lot of stuff to do online, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's the worst thing ever. Definitely not worth the momentum it's got, though. I'll say that Colt used to play the hell out of it. I get it. People really like it. Colt, does this kind of business model for all their games, longevity first, bother you, or kind of?
Well, when you first said that, the first thing I thought of was that campaign was so great, and I really enjoyed it. And then the online came afterwards. I mean, I got my money's worth out of the campaign, and we played GTA Online for, I don't know, 30, 50 hours and laughed our faces off, and then I moved on. But it's funny to hear all you guys talk about, it's had its time in the sun, but everybody's like playing that game. It's like Fortnite. It's like a runaway success. All the DLC on GTA Online is free, but yet they're still making money. And there's that terrible thing where we don't want games to be like service driven and microtransaction driven, but two of the biggest games right now, Fortnite and GTA Online on console, are like massive successes. So It's like, sucks, right? Yeah. It sucks for us because we'd rather see 2K pump money into Dead Space. Well, they don't do Dead Space, but we'd like to see a game like, like something like Dead Space 4 come out or Borderlands 3.
Something unique and original, yeah.
You know what I mean? Or new IP. But anyway, the point was when you first said that, I'm thinking, well, they're obviously going to put out Max Payne 4, and it'll have a great campaign, and then it'll have this longevity online part that if you want, you can play it. If not, you'll move on and buy the next game. That's how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, and I hear you there for sure. It's interesting. Somebody says, "Don't worry about it. You'll all be playing Spider-Man in 42 days." You're right. I'll be playing Spider-Man in 42 days as well. So,
and then everybody will be playing Red Dead. A week later after Spider-Man is beaten. That's
I mean, I'll be done with in 43 days, I'll probably be done with Spider-Man. I'll know life the fuck out of that and beat it. But
that's the problem with single player experiences. Spider-Man, a lot of people.
Spider-Man's already pre-ordered digitally on the PlayStation. Booted that bitch up first time in fucking forever. But hey, I want to talk about Microsoft. Apparently, they are doing very well. They're doing very well, K-Mega. Really well. Actually, they've made over $10 billion here from the division, and apparently that was enough to stomp out Nintendo. Very impressive, man. Everyone's talking about how Xbox is on. It's failing, it's dying, but it's really among the most profitable that it's ever been. How do you think such a misconception has spread? Is it just that one idiot is going and watching a show full of idiots that are lying, or do you think that motherfuckers can't read? Which one?
All the above. I think it's all the above. I mean, a lot of people like to listen to that propaganda. You're talking about, why Xbox is not revealing sales numbers, this, that, whatever, and they keep talking about console numbers with the PlayStation. But when it all comes down to it, it's all about making money. And Xbox has been doing that hand over fist for about the last, 3-4 years now. So, I mean, they've changed the game and start talking about user ratings and all of that, and then now PlayStation and others are starting to use that method as well, because that's what's going to generate the money, is how many people is going to be playing. It's all about the software. It's always been about the software. The hardware is to try to attract the gamer, but the software is to try to make a person buy that hardware. And that's what it's all about. And Xbox has found so many different ways of getting the competition, or getting gamers to wanting to jump on Xbox. If it's not for just Xbox Live, it's for Game Pass, it's for backwards compatibility. It's so many other things that Xbox is doing that the other competition isn't. That's why they're making so much money right now.
It's no one thing,
Right.
I would say it's a melding of hardware, software, even services, your friends or so. That's what I say. Everyone tried to jump on my sack because I said I don't define a console, I don't define a platform by games alone. That would be fucking silly, or else we'd all be on Nintendo right now, right? I define a console in a PC. I define PC by power, not its exclusives. Right?
It doesn't have any.
I define Xbox by its usability. All my games are there. All my friends are there. The power is there. And it's got some damn good software as well, despite what some people want to believe. It's a melding. It's like saying, I define everything about this car by its engine. Well, what about the comfortability and the connectivity and the handling? And, you can't just define 100% of something by one thing. I think that's silly. So
that's why people get mad when I point out how many things the Xbox platform and the Xbox One X does better than the competition. It's like I just list off this laundry list of things that make it an enjoyable, like my go-to platform for almost every game. And you just can't discount that. There are just great things.
Colt, you're a liar.
You lied to me.
You're a liar. You lied. Someone told me you said. Never mind. I'm gonna.
Underachiever says you're damage controlling.
So the division has grown apparently 14% year over year. Microsoft CEO says they will continue to invest aggressively. They are looking to spend that money, and you know what? They're looking to buy some studios as well. Not necessarily giant AAA studios, right? More like what is that? Ninja Theory, where they're making more AA games right now.
Mm-hmm.
So they're looking to buy medium-sized studios or even small studios. And what's going to happen over time is those studios are going to grow and become AAA studios. Believe it or not, they're not going to go spend billions for EA. They're looking to get something that they can build for the most part, grow, just like they've done with Ninja Theory. They've over quintupled the size of that team. They got pretty much whatever budget they need. They're going to do the same thing with Undead Labs and all their other studios. Very, very interesting how transparent Matt Booty was on that. Speaking of Matt Booty, the motherfucker does not tweet. at
No.
all. He's a hermit, so I guess we kind of have to pry stuff out of him. Vigor is a brand new game. I think it's in preview now, right? And that's from the makers of Arma 3. If you guys don't know, apparently this is an Xbox exclusive for now, parentheses. Has anybody checked out Vigor? Maybe someone in the chat, since you motherfuckers are dead.
Yes. No, I played it. I played it the other night. So no, I played it the other night. It's okay. I mean, it's got a lot of work to do. It's got a lot of bugs, but
explain the gameplay to the people.
Okay, well, it reminded me a lot like a better looking PUBG, because you just kind of wake up in the sewer, right? And then you walk out and then you start collecting stuff. And then when you start reading some of the stuff that's going on out there, I guess there was some kind of nuclear fallout. So you have to get materials from these drops, these airdrops that just pop up anywhere. And then you suit up, get weapons, but you got to look all over the place. You can't just go straight ahead. You got to look around. And then once you start that, it'll give you kind of like a tutorial. Get out of that, and then you start to craft your weapons. You can build up your lodge or home, whatever the hell, your cabin, whatever the hell you want to call it, and just get out there, and then you'll be going against other online players. So that's what I'm saying. It has a PUBG feel to it. I guess I haven't played H1Z1, so
somebody said it's basically like a better optimized DayZ.
Yeah, so it could be on that status, because I have not played that game. So it's out there, but it looks really good. It's a pretty looking game, but of course the body movement mechanics is still off. The customization is like really detailed. So it's one of those games you just got to sink your teeth into and just grind it out. But so far what I played, it wasn't bad. I mean, I'll go back and play it again.
I like how we talk about a game on a gaming podcast, and motherfuckers is like, Z. I like it.
Talk about other men, please. Talk about other men.
Just remember, guys, we're talking about a game for all of about 3 minutes there, and you know what? Now we're on the next thing. I think we're one of the fastest firing podcasts there are, and we always get to these topics. Goddamn.
Well, William Ramos is saying the game was Z, not us. I think
someone else said it. So like I said, Vigor, check it out if you haven't. Noof, what do you think about the fact that, well, you don't even, never mind this. Once again, I asked the worst person on the panel for this. You don't even play on PC. How about I ask D-Batch, since you love the PC aspect of things and play anywhere. Apparently Halo Infinite will not, well, that's what they're saying, because every other game says play anywhere next to it on the listing, but Halo Infinite says Xbox and PC. A lot of people are jumping to the conclusion that they will sell the copy separately on that title. What does that mean to you as a PC guy?
I don't think they would sell it separately. You think they're going to sell it separately?
Like I said, I'm just bringing up the articles. I mean, that's what these guys are jumping to.
From a financial standpoint, I guess I could understand them selling it separately, because the PC guys have been waiting forever for a Halo game, a complete Halo game.
They'd still buy it though if it was Play Anywhere, either or.
I think they would get it if it's Play Anywhere, but if it's a standalone and they put it in the Steam store, I got to be honest, it probably would sell more, just for the fact that it's not in the Microsoft store. I don't know. That's very interesting. Like, in all honesty, because I think Halo Infinite's probably going to come out on the next gen hardware. You guys are in agreement on that?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It might be a cross-gen.
Sure. Yeah. So
I think it's going to be cross-gen myself personally.
In all honesty, as much as I love Play Anywhere, and I do love Play Anywhere, I don't think it's a smart move to put that game right away, day one, on the PC. I think it's better to let it be staggered, like maybe a month and a half later after it comes on the console, to come out on the PC, just to push the new hardware out, because supposedly this is going to be a launch title, so it would help boost sales of the next Xbox, and then stagger it out. But if it comes to the PC day and date, it's still going to sell well. It's gonna do well for them anyways. So
it says it's exclusively on Xbox One and Windows 10, which is weird when they kind of hint that it's going to be a next generation title, unless they're going to call the next generation Xbox One Y.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing. I've been saying this for a while, that I think that Halo Infinite is going to come out before the Scarlet comes out. I really do. I think that's good, because in order for the game to be a crossover, I think they'll do that and I've also, and it could be a launch title, which would be huge to have a Halo for a launch title for.
Well, here's what I will say real quick: is Gears 5 is confirmed 2019 next year. I don't think they'll launch Gears and Halo in the same year.
No, and also too, from what I'm
Right.
from what's out there, they're pretty much saying this is in very early development. Like they just kind of just showed the engine running when they showed us that preview. It wasn't even really the game per se. So I'm pretty sure it's a 2020 title.
Okay, but if it can be a 2020 title, but if you have, let's say that the Halo comes out and at the end of October, like Halo 5 did, and then the new console comes out in November, that's still going to be at the end of, still going to be in between both consoles.
Well, it quite possibly could be a cross-gen
right.
title.
It just makes sense for them, since they're saying that they're going to bring all their game, they don't want to leave anybody behind. See what I'm saying? So.
Yeah. Well, in either case, it's interesting why this listing would be different than others. It could be a simple mistake, but like I said, I mean, there's several articles going around about this. I think it's kind of silly. Noof Nukem, Crackdown 3 is not playable at Gamescom. What do you think that means, man? Are the terrors and the troubles, are they done for Crackdown, or do you think they're just like, you know what, we got 6 months to optimize this. Let's just get it done and not worry about a demo.
It could be a little bit of both. It depends on the way you want to perceive this, right? Because obviously there's been enough bad press about Crackdown in the last 6 or 7 months that, of course, any little thing is not up to snuff. People are going to hang this game. If they haven't hung it already, it's damn well going to be dragging the damn ground behind the horse after the show. So I think maybe in the positive is they don't show it because they do want to make sure this game is optimal and it's perfect. And that way, when it comes out, you can base the game on its merits at that time. And hopefully they can get the online components up to snuff. That's where a lot of people keep speculating, use that word, that maybe they're having trouble with the online. But I mean, as far as the single player, I can't really see how that falls through the cracks, pardon the pun here. But I mean, the other side of the coin is, if you're looking at it from the negative side, well, here we are, probably 6-7 months away from a release date. Gamescom is really the last big show where they can put this game on a pedestal and say, here's what we got, guys. Time to get excited, get those pre-orders in, and they're keeping it away from people. You kind of got to start to wonder what is going on here. So again, it's all a matter of perspective. I'm hoping that it's just, they just want to make sure that when this game finally is ready to go, people can just base it on it and on its merits, and not kind of go into it judging the game on what the media is kind of saying or the fanboys are kind of saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I just hope I'm confident, and Microsoft has already said they're not delaying it again. I'm getting tired of talking about the damn game. I just want to play the damn game.
Quit bringing it up.
But at the end of the day, I'm looking forward to the game coming out. We'll see what's going on. A lot of people ran with the destruction is not in there, but the guy said he didn't know. So it's a curious case, that game. Once that game comes out, that's kind of like the last of the old guard and the launch of the X1. And once that game comes out and it's done and over with, then we can kind of sweep it away and look forward to the future of all of these new studio powered IPs.
If they're ready for this cloud streaming solution for 2020 for next generation, maybe they've got enough ready to power whatever they have planned for the destruction and Crackdown in February. And my best guess is it's going to be what they advertised, but maybe it's not going to, every block isn't going to be segregated to a server. Maybe it'll just be, we just played Red Faction Guerrilla, and the destruction in that is really good, and it's all done locally on the CPU and crashes the frame rate, but maybe they've got something to just mitigate that and keep it solid. Who knows?
Fraudarelli in the chat says Crackdown 3 is dead. No, man, I don't think it's dead. I think it's going to come out. You know what? As a matter of fact,
I'm gonna private message Fonz after this show because he's in big trouble.
I don't think it's dead. I just think that it's old news, and the game is not gonna. And I'm really, if the game didn't have Game Pass to back it, I don't think the game would sell, because people have talked about it enough. It's got so much bad press for not only just months but for years, and it's kind of been like the poster child of being bullied. You know what I'm saying? It's just the kid that got his ass kicked over and over again. So it's nobody cares about this game in that standard of getting hyped. And even I, as me being an Xbox all everything. You know what I'm saying? I've even lost a little bit of luster because it's like, come on, man, let's just bring this game. Let me go ahead and play it. I'm still going to buy it. I'm still going to support it. But Jesus,
that's
man,
probably why they're not showing it off. They're just going to let it hide and kind of reemerge. Oliver in the chat says, let Sony have the Crackdown IP. They know how to publish good games. First off, this is a multiplayer game. Did you forget? So no, they would be lost like somebody in a room with no lights and no windows. Okay.
But Bloodborne has.
Secondly, no. Sony from software made that shit anyway. If Sony made this shit, the fuck is that?
Oh, my bad. That's me.
You've got mail.
Okay,
bye.
But if Sony made this shit anyway, they don't have the server power to do that kind of online destruction anyway. If it's still there, so.
Well, they could run it through PS Now, couldn't they? Destruction.
I think the resolution cap in PS Now, is that still 720p, Colt? Maybe you look that up.
Yeah, it is, unfortunately. That's the funny thing. I don't know if we're going to bring this up later in the show, but Sony probably has something similar to Microsoft's streaming service in plans as well, so people need to kind of get themselves evened out a little bit. They'll be surprised.
Well, I do want to give a shout out to over 450 people watching this live, guys. Try to get us to 300 likes for the end of the show. It's kind of a shorter show, so it's a little harder to do than other shows, but we do appreciate it. It really helps. Maybe retweet this if you're watching this live. We do appreciate it. As we get into the fact that Halo Wars 2 is now 100% cross-play, you no longer have an option to play with PC people in Halo Wars 2. Just so you guys know, if you're playing that game online, you can no longer filter out PC players because the player base, I guess, has gotten that small to where they've had to merge the two. So just want to throw that out there. It's a possibility of crossplay. It's a negative of crossplay. There's some games like Fortnite where I don't even think you have an option, do you? So it's one of those things you just gotta look up for.
But Halo Wars, does it really matter? Really?
Yeah, of course it matters. Mouse and keyboard on hotkeys versus a controller. Holy shit, you're getting destroyed.
You're gonna get lit up. And it's such a good game, man. Yeah, Halo Wars is great.
Good.
Oh yeah, strategy games, mouse and keyboard, they're so much faster. To rally troops, you hit Y, like you can do so much more with hotkeys. So
maybe because I have
the keyboard support. Then they were talking about it for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I have an Elite controller, so those problems.
That Elite controller is no mouse, and you don't have fucking 87,000 buttons either. So I don't know, man. Good luck. Good luck. That's all I'm saying. Killer Instinct
swooped up on you so quick. Like,
I haven't really played that game, so
he's got 2 Elite controllers duct taped together. He's like, I'm having no problem. I got all the buttons I need.
What the hell?
Killer Instinct, they just revealed some new fighter updates. People, for some reason, was saying this is going to be a new exclusive or some shit. They definitely just talked about changes to some characters and stuff. Nothing major. So, you know what? Let's talk about something a little more interesting. It's not really Xbox related, but I do want to talk about the Spider-Man PS4 bundle real quick. You know what? Unlike the God of War PS4 Pro bundle that looked like Noof said, covered in your grandma's doilies.
Yeah,
the Spider-Man PS4 looks pretty fucking cool to me. Anybody else got any thoughts on this thing?
No, I seen it in person. I thought it was dope.
It looks good.
I think, because I still got the Slim, and I'm like, well, I might as well upgrade. So that is the best, in my opinion, the best PlayStation
by far.
Yeah, by far, and next to the Destiny all white console. So I mean, I'm like, I might as well just go ahead and get a Pro because I've been slipping not having the true HDR and all that. Right. So I'm gonna go ahead and cop it when it's available because it's sold out right now.
Let me ask you this, Noof. What would you do if in an alternate universe Insomniac came out, the game launched, and they said, you know what? If you bought it on PlayStation 4, you get it on PC at the same time.
Well, I think that would be monumental. It'd certainly be great for PC owners. You know what I mean? It'd give the people more options and places to play the game, and it might even encourage some Xbox guys to go over and pick up the game and play it on their PC, kind of like a lot of the PS4 kind of dudes tend to do with some of the Xbox related titles. You know what I mean? So as far as the console goes itself and its looks, I think it's solid. It's one of the better, what do you call them? Custom consoles they've done in a long time. In the words of Master Yoda, ugly it is not. Yes. So,
But what do you think? What do you think a lot of PS4 fans would do if they found out like a game like Spider-Man was going to come with a free copy of a PC version of Spider-Man? You could play it at 1080 60 if you wanted, or whatever your rig can handle. Well, how do you think the reaction would be to that?
I think
love
some
it.
people
They
would
all
go
have a
with
PC,
that.
don't they?
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of them I talk to say they play all the Xbox games on their Beast PC with an i7.
Guy, 47,000 gigs of RAM. Jesus.
All right, now, come on now, dealer.
Frauds. Chris Crawl says, "Hey man, love the podcast, man. Keep it up. Thank you in the super chat, brother. Appreciate it." You know what? I think it would be a complete and utter meltdown. Even though a lot of the guys praised it with the PS3 and the Vita, where you got cross-play and stuff, cross-buy. Buy one copy there, get another one for free. It's extremely pro-consumer. I would definitely pick it up on PC over the PlayStation. And I just think people will melt down because their hypocrisy would be insane. They'd be like, "Oh, it's great," So there's no real win in there. I don't know about the rest. Maybe the chat could tell us. What do you think the Sony radicals would do if Spider-Man came to the PC as well? That'd be pretty insane.
I would love for Spider-Man to come to the PC so I could go ahead and rub it in their face just like I do No Kuni, because that's where I bought my No Kuni was off the PC. So Dragon Quest and quite a Nier Automata, all different types of PlayStation games. So I would be all for it because it will perform better on my PC. So even though, of course, my PC is nowhere near on you guys' level, but still, it still functions. So it's I would be all for it. I think it'd be great.
Charlie in the super chat, when referring to streaming, he says PlayStation will not be able to do it even close to as good. And I agree. Like I said, PS Now is still capped to like 720p. I don't even think it does 60 frames, though I'm not 100% on that. It's severely low bandwidth there. And he also wants to know if, you know what, I'll come back to that part during our later topic there, but we're going to talk about that a lot, Charlie. So yeah, Spider-Man, the PS4 bundle looks pretty good to me. I pre-ordered the game, used one of them damn prepaid cards, never putting my information in that thing again. So I had
what
it
happened?
Saved away. Well, we all got fucking hacked in 2011, was it? So it was great. I loved it. So I definitely don't want that shit to happen again. But yeah, game looks good. I'd love for it to come to PC, but it's not. So booting up the Pro and enjoying it there.
Yo, speaking of Spider-Man, want to hear a cheesy Spider-Man joke?
Oh no!
What would Peter Parker be doing if he wasn't working at the Daily Bugle? He would be a web designer.
Oh my god!
But I'm dump.
Oh man, I wish I had my send that shit to Hades sound right now. Sound bite.
Sometimes news they're so bad you gotta laugh. He designs them that way. Oh man, Guerrilla Games, I guess they're boosting their team up to 400 developers so games can come out faster. That's significant. That's like 343 size almost.
Yeah.
So that's a big team. They just came out with Horizon and the DLC, and I guess they're working on the sequel, but they're trying to get things done faster. This is an approach I'd like to see Microsoft take with some teams. Like for instance, the Coalition. I know Coalition's almost 300 people now, but boost that team up. It looks like they made a lot of progress in the year and a half though with Gears 5. Gears 5 looks insane.
Yes.
So not really anything crazy, but worth mentioning. It's definitely a smart decision, I think, on Guerrilla's part. Now we've got some report that leaks 2 Xboxes. Now this is kind of the stuff that's been going on over the past day, and I want to thank everybody for joining us on a dead ass Tuesday. Ain't nothing going on today but the aftermath, and that's what we're discussing here. 2 boxes leaked again. This is not the first time that somebody has leaked the fact there's going to be a family, as Phil said at E3, a family of devices. And one of these devices is going to be a streaming box, codenamed Scarlet Cloud, and the other one is going to be a traditional style console that is supposed to be the benchmark, quote unquote. And I want to start with the Scarlet Cloud. This thing is supposed to infuse the hardware and the software, meld it all together, and kind of use the cloud to stitch it all together as one piece of gameplay. Meaning they're going to put things like movement, animation, if you're shooting people, that kind of stuff on the physical hardware in the streaming box. And then the rest of the stuff will be streamed in. So that way latency is much lower. This is the only service I know of that does this. And it really helps separate besides Microsoft's cloud strength alone, which is one of the biggest cloud networks in the world, their bandwidth's going to be much better. They're going to be able to do much higher quality already than 720p, whatever frames per second it is on PS Now, with 100 milliseconds of input lag. They're definitely going to have an advantage there. And then you add this hardware interlacing that really reduces it to ultra low latency, according to these leaks, and it really separates the two by a mile, in my opinion. Noof, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, look, options, guys, are always damn good. If Microsoft decides to come out with basically two SKUs, one box, which is the Scarlet Cloud version, and then another set-top box like we're used to, that's fantastic. It's going to give a lot of gamers access to Microsoft's lineup of games, whether they have the power or not, because the cloud will compensate for a lot of that sort of processing and stuff. And bottom line is, it's to be able to get an affordable console experience into the hands of as many gamers as possible. And a lot of times, like, there's a lot of gamers that we've heard who would love to have an Xbox One X, but that $500-$600 price tag, depending on where you live, is a little bit daunting for some people. So if you can get the price right and you can bring a reliable and justifiable experience into the homes, it's going to be astronomical. It's going to boost Microsoft's bottom line big time. But as for hardcore gamers like myself and many of you on the panel, it's not an option for me. But hey, it's a great option all the same. I'm still going to go with the traditional console. I want a set-top box. I want to be able to put my disc in and take it out. I want to be able to use it like normal. That's it. I think it's cool news. We don't know a lot about it yet, but it's a step in the right direction, and it could give Microsoft a huge leg up, in the next generation of the, supposed console war, if you want to call it that.
Mm-hmm. Colt, tell us about the rumor price point and all that stuff, and how you think that'll appeal.
The rumor price point for the Roku Xbox is $99 to $125.
Yes.
So one of the problems is, for $100 you can get this streaming device, and there's a couple people a lot of people are saying that latency is going to destroy any chance of this being successful. But the whole article is about how latency is being solved by local computing, multiple server, close local server computing,
and hardware to local to the box.
Yep, to keep working in companion with the local hardware, so that you get a regular latency issue that you would on regular. I guess you're at the mercy of your internet, like you'd always be. It won't be the Azure cloud that is causing your problems. It would be anything you're normally used to if you don't have good internet. But if you're worried about your internet, they have the regular benchmark console, which would be like the Scarlet X or Scarlet Scorpio, I guess we call it.
See, now Charlie,
$500
super chat real quick. He says something interesting that I don't think is going to work out in the streaming box. For one, this box is $100. Keep this in mind, right? It severely dictates the components inside as well as the size. Keep in mind also that you can pay upwards of $100 for other streaming boxes that simply do 4K, HDR, whatever, right? Without the streaming of games, right? No games, just streaming. Some of these boxes already run $100. Check the net, right?
Yeah.
Add to that games that you can play at hopefully full fidelity at very low input lag, and you've got a hell of a bargain there for a lot of people. That it really depends on a lot of factors. But he says that you'll be able to download those games onto that streaming box and play it anyway. I don't think that's the case, because you are not going to have the GPU power. You're not going to have the RAM there. The only way you're going to be able to do that is on the full-blown console, I think. So you're not going to have that GPU power there necessary to play all of the game locally. This is designed from the ground up to interlace the hardware and the cloud to render everything at ultra low latency in combination with all.
Well, isn't NVIDIA doing this? Giving high quality PC or mid to high level PC quality graphics at streaming across the internet?
Mm-hmm.
D could speak to this.
Sorry.
Yeah. So
the NVIDIA streaming service.
Yeah. So I'm beta testing that, and honestly, tell you, it's pretty smooth, man. Like, if I didn't know better, I would think I'm playing it locally. It's like there's very, very little latency. And just the fact that Microsoft is going to offer this additional box to ensure that you get no latency, I think it's fantastic. I think the box is going to handle like the hit detection. It's going to handle the inputs from the controller and stuff, which are the big things which cause lag, right? So
I don't think the magic is in the box, honestly. I think the magic is in software that they've spent years developing that's going to make any of your devices, because remember, he mentioned mobile, he mentioned all the cell phone stuff, PC. It's not just going to, this streaming box is just going to be the way a lot of people do it, but they're going to have streaming on cell phones and all kinds of stuff. And I think it's a way that they figured out how to make the hardware render the essentials, the fast acting stuff. And then through their servers and this whole program, they've figured out streaming at a very high fidelity as well. So
imagine what it's going to be like in 2020 with Azure Cloud more developed. You know, it's funny, people keep saying, well, it's not working right now, there's too much latency, there's no way it's going to work right now. I'm like,
it is working.
Yeah, it's 2018. Wait until this is blossom and wait till this launches in 2020 and see what it does. But I think there's a reason why some of this leaked. There must be enough out and in the works for us to start hearing about it.
Well, that's incorrect. It is working now. The NVIDIA Shield, I haven't played it, but somebody let me know that it does 4K 60 on that or something like that. So
that one built into a TV as well. Yeah,
the NVIDIA Shield. And I also saw some video. It was at one of the events. I think it was E3 or something, or before E3, and they had it streaming to like a tablet, a cell phone, and there was like no latency, and they were playing like Street Fighter, full fidelity, everything, and that's a fast-paced game, and there was no latency.
Yep.
Yeah, and as gamers, we've been burned too many times with people wowing us with tech, but who knows? We just have to wait and see.
Like I said, I think 100, 125 is a perfect spot for what it does. It's just every streaming box has a CPU in it. A lot of people don't understand that, but these boxes already have CPUs in it. It's going to be custom hardware from Microsoft. That's probably going to be more than up to spec to do the streaming aspect. K-Mega, you have something to say?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, yeah, like if there's any capability where you could hook up your hard drive into it to where if you can port your games over that way, or we know that we can have our game saved into a cloud and you could have game shared through that device, that's a win. Because the one thing that you got to look at it as gamers, when you have kids or anything else, and if you get this device, instead of buying a whole nother console, you could take this streaming device, put it in the back room, and for the certain amount of games that they can play, or if you can have a huge library of games, that was a win. I mean, that right there is so consumer friendly, and it undercuts anything that the competition is going to do, especially if you could play any of your games with you. Like, I mean, if you could play if games, we were talking about this yesterday, if you could play games at like 1080p, 60 frames per second, like that's a win. I mean, you don't have to, and if you could go ahead and hit 4K, then I mean, I don't think it will hit 4K, but I think that it has the potential to do 1080p, 60 frames, and it's for $125 to $150. I mean, who's going to turn that down except for old traditionalist gamers that wants their box? And that's another positive factor, is that they have not let the old traditional gamer left behind in this. They're saying, look, we care about you just as much as we care about where we're going forward with gaming. And once that happens, then you're going to have so many people purchasing that. It's just all about, like what we're all saying, hey, if it works, if it works properly. I mean, there was a reason why they brought that division, why they made that cloud division, and I think that it's balls to the walls now. They're really going to push it. So
here's one thing that I think the panel is split on what they think is going to happen, and it might be a nice argument point. I think that this thing will allow you to play any games you own, that you'll be able to load them up and stream them. But some people think that this is like a Netflix service that you pay a certain amount a month to use the Steam box after you bought it, so you can't access games you already own. But I think you can.
Yeah, that's what I was.
You will play games that you already own digitally, like Wolfenstein 2: New Colossus. I bought back in November, and in 2020, if I want to play that,
those games are playing on the Switch. Yeah, I mean, if they could play on the Switch, I'm sure they could play on this device.
Well, there's no limitation. I'm not talking about like older games. I'm just saying. Okay. That when a brand new game comes out and all you own is the Xbox streaming box, you buy it for $60 on Xbox Live.
It's talking about basically just being able to stream any game you own.
Right. Yeah.
So if you own the game, you just go there, you click on your library, whatever game you want to play, and it starts up the streaming process. And when it comes to the Switch and Wolfenstein, that was a year of heavily customizing that game and that engine to run on the Switch, and it's 4 gigs of RAM. Nothing will run locally on this hardware. This is a streaming box. That's why it's going to be so cheap. You don't have to pay for a big GPU. You don't have to pay for a bunch of RAM, a PSU.
And you can't ask
a
customer to spend over $200 on a box that doesn't allow you to play your games unplugged, or it doesn't allow you to put a disc in, or have a friend bring over a game.
I don't think it'll be $200. If it's $200, it defeats the purpose. Because remember, this is going to be at the end of the day. By the time it's said and done, this will be an app on your phone. You can do this for free as long as you have a subscription to some service.
Yep.
And I was saying on another podcast,
I think they'll tie Game Pass into this. I think all the Game Passes, so they can do this 3 ways. They can say, all right, you buy this streaming box for $100, $125. All of our Game Pass titles are streamable. You subscribe to Game Pass, you can stream all of these games, because there's got to be a process to make these games streamable in the first place. Otherwise, the other process I'd like to be done is every game you own, you can stream. If you want to go to the store and buy a new game to stream, you can do that too, just like you do today, but everything's just streaming. Yeah. And then you've got the other process where you have very, very limited selection, which doesn't make any sense. It's not practical.
Right. I mean, I look at it from this standpoint. I mean, we just got to wait and see. I know that there's people that has their doubts. But I mean, look, it's just like what you were saying earlier, Dealer. Like there's boxes out there that you can push 4K 60 on it. I know this is not, I mean, you talk about the NVIDIA Shield, that's already doing that. So, I mean, it's not like this technology is not capable of doing it. And Microsoft has some of the best, brightest out there. So, I mean, the
Shield is doing it, but the Shield does have plenty of input lag, and the Shield also has some pretty hefty local hardware that makes it really pricey. That's the difference. So,
well, I'm just going to, okay, go ahead.
Go ahead and finish up, Kim.
Go ahead, K-Man. Go ahead.
Well, no, I just was going to just make this last point. Was just saying, for me, I'm all digital now. I mean, I've got very few games that's hard copy now. I mean, after I bought the Xbox One Fat, and then the disk drive busted out on me, and I had all these other games that was hard drive, and I felt stupid because I was like, man, I can't even play these games because my disk drive went out. And so I had to take the Xbox back, get that fixed, get it put in there. After that, I said, nope, all digital. So for me, it is the perfect little device to put in the front room or to put in the bedrooms. You know what I'm saying? For when, if I want, or if my old lady wants to jump and play a little something, it'd be great. I think that's what the whole purpose of it is.
Go ahead, Nick.
I just want to go ahead.
Nick's been waiting. Let's give it to Nick.
Go ahead, Nick.
I was just going to say, like, the whole idea of this is not as foreign as it seems, because I'm sure many of you and maybe some of you have it, and I'd love to do, and that is like the Apple TV model, right? Because a lot of people can't afford to go out and buy, say, the Apple Mac or the ProBooks or what, those sorts of things. So, like, I think it's the Apple TV. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe if you have Apple TV, I mean, you basically pay like 1/3 of the cost of most of their tablets, but yet you can still access a lot of the same content that you could get through the tablet. Am I correct? Like, you can still bring up your basically the iOS or whatever up onto the screen, and you can still play and access your Apple games, right?
Well,
that you had to
basically stream your phone to your box. Yeah.
Exactly. So I mean, it's kind of that method. If you think about it, it's a very similar approach, and it's just giving people more ways to play without having that one big restriction, and it's always price.
Now the guy in the chat brings up real quick. The guy in the chat brings up that we're not really talking about internet restrictions and stuff. That's true. We haven't covered that yet. I did cover that in my video yesterday, but that's a very real concern, and that's the thing. For reference, on Live over 10 years ago, the requirement to play and stream their games was 8 megabytes per second. Now, I'd imagine Microsoft have found a way to get that much lower. And depending on your speed, and me and Colt were talking about this yesterday, depending on your speed, I'd imagine that requirement will go down. So if you have 3 megabytes per second, holy shit, if that's possible in 3 megs, I'd be really surprised. But let's say your quality is restricted to like PS Now resolution, 720p, maybe 30 frames per second, but you do get really, really, really good responsive latency there. That's where the hardware and their software has come in to make the hardware and the cloud work together. Whereas if maybe you have 8 megs, you can do 1440p 60 and have really good latency. Latency is the biggest thing that's holding the cloud gaming back. Just so you guys remember, the latency is supposed to be solved here. No matter how small the latency might be on the new NVIDIA stuff, I'm sure it's great. But stacking that latency on top of your TV's latency, even your controller has like 5 milliseconds of latency. It adds up. So to cut down 20 milliseconds, 30 milliseconds is all the difference to a real, really, really hardcore gamer, a guy that games a lot. Yeah. And that's all it could take. So just keep that in mind. But data caps are an issue. If they can get that usage down and under control, that will really help. And that's one of those things we have to really see and wait for. And if you don't have much data or you can't use it, this is the best part. And a part that I feel like a lot of crackheads are forgetting is that you have an option. You do not have to buy this thing. You can buy the traditional powerhouse benchmark, quote unquote, Xbox Scarlett in 2020, the real regular console.
Yeah.
I also think too that this streaming Scarlett box, I think if you don't have the bandwidth, I think it'll probably scale it down to like 720p or something like that to accommodate the bandwidth, similar to what Netflix does. And also too, I think Samsung, because a lot of these TVs, they have Steam Link built into them where you can stream your Steam games directly to your TV. So it's not that far out of the question that Samsung, which is a great partner to Microsoft, could actually have this technology inside their TVs.
Mike M in the chat says he read a report, I guess somewhere, I guess you could link this, Mike, but he says basically they've found a way to cut that streaming cost into a third of what it would normally be. I remember when Netflix went back and recodeced all of their content to make it cost you less bandwidth to watch their content. In fear of net neutrality and all that stuff. So there's ways they can make this stuff more efficient. And at the end of the day, there's no stopping this. If not now, 10 years from now, it will be a common thing, believe it or not. Internet speeds are only getting faster. This stuff's only getting better. And I guess this box is really going to be the first testament to streaming done right, depending on how much freedom you have with your software. Can I just take can I just go in the other room on the 70-inch and tap this little cloud button and just stream every game in my library? No loading. And it works perfect. And it's, it's like I'm playing with just maybe 10 more milliseconds than normal. That would be phenomenal. Like,
sign me up.
That's compelling. That's all I'm saying. But I'll be getting a traditional console because it is an option.
Yeah. And, Andrew in the chat says Microsoft isn't Netflix. Stop kidding yourself. Well, I remember Netflix.
Right. Microsoft isn't Netflix.
Yeah, and I remember what Netflix was in 2006, and with the little red paper.
Yeah, Blockbuster had a chance to buy Netflix.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, Netflix used to be small too, and this is like Microsoft is leading out the front door with this and pushing this like for real for gaming. And I know it seems so many people seems like half the people are not ready to even accept the idea. But this could be like another great way to game. And I also think that Microsoft and Sony are going to continue to offer traditional gaming consoles. And I think we just need to let technology evolve and let gaming get better and let us have more.
What it reminds me of, Colt? It reminds me of everybody because people, they fear what they don't understand. They never seen it before, so they fear it. And that's exactly what they did with the X. How are they going to do this? Well, how's it going to work? It's going to be complicated and blah, 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 blah. And now it just works. You don't even think about it.
Well, like every new game that comes out is X enhanced. It's the same thing with the DRM. I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's DRM all over again." It's like, well, we left some things behind when we ditched the DRM thing in 2013. There was a possibility of family game sharing with 10 different friends. And we're all DRM anyway. Even your disk is DRM. When you install it, you take the thing and you put it in the drive and leave it there.
You don't even have to say that though, Colt. You don't even have to say more than you have a choice. You do not have to buy this.
That's right.
So it's only DRM because it has to be for one. You need internet to stream. That's a fact. So I wouldn't worry about DRM.
And most games have to have the internet. I mean, especially for the most popular. I mean, the number one game in the world, or the number 1 and 2 game in the world right now, those games are online used. So I mean, it's really crazy to me. I mean, you have the option. That's what the Xbox One X is there for. That's if you really want to go the cheap route and want to pay $100, because I'm pretty sure by the time that all these devices come out, that the Xbox One S is going to be available for real cheap. So I don't see why anybody could complain about the progression of the future of gaming. I think this is exactly what's going to happen, and really it will help in the development of gaming, of making games, because games, especially single player experiences, they got to put in more money each time. I mean, just think about these big time actors that get in there, all the technology that's used. I mean, it costs a lot of money, and if you think that we're going to just keep seeing hardware, and not see any loot crates or any type of DLC to try to recoup some of this money back, you're crazy. That's just
I gotta see something. Fonz is saying, as gamers, F streaming games. Like I see Fonz has something really against streaming games. Like it's it goes against something that he believes, which I'm not seeing because I can't follow the whole chat.
These are just all opinions.
But these are games that you're going to buy and own.
I will say that Fawn said streaming games through a service. What's the point of that other than lining these companies' pockets? What do you that's what all this is. All of this is lining their pockets by that logic.
Buying a digital game lines their pockets.
I wouldn't say that. I would say that if you don't like it, don't do it. And I would also say that by that same logic, I wouldn't subscribe to Game Pass. You're paying them every month for games. And you say that's a great deal, and I agree. But what if all those games were also streamable, right? You had Game Pass, you just bought this dumb little box, you don't have to carry your console anywhere, put it in the other room, whatever. And you can just stream all your Game Pass games for no extra charge. You're already subscribed. It's like Netflix. I can watch it on any device, right?
It's just a different way to play the game you own.
Yeah. So I would just say Fonz has got some proper concerns. I wouldn't fearmonger it too much until I understand how it works and have seen it in action. Right. That's how I work. Yeah, I would advise others to do the same because you never know. You just never know. It could be fucking phenomenal. I guess we'll see. If you don't like it, buy the regular.
PlayStation Now. I mean, PlayStation Now made too many mistakes.
What Fonz's concern is, and I totally agree with him, like I've always had this fear, is what if it becomes the only option to stream? Like they don't sell this anymore.
Don't say what if it becomes the only option. Don't say that because Phil's actually talked on this. He said there's going to be physical hardware, local hardware to play your games on traditional consoles for as long as he's there. And there's never been why would they limit their sales that much anyway? Like who wants to stream? That's still a very limited group of people, believe it or not, that do, and that's even more limited group of people that can, I think. And
United States is probably one of the worst industrial countries with internet right now. I mean, if you really think about it, because I mean, there's so many spots out there that's so far behind. Rural areas is like it's terrible. So I don't
there's other boxes that attempt this. This one's just trying to do it right with ultra low latency with interlaced, hardware and software connection there. So there's other boxes that have done this. They just haven't done it as well, and it's such a high fidelity. So I don't. I'm not going to jump on them for doing what other boxes have done 10 years ago, just not correctly. So they failed.
I'll say this real quick. I have a lot of faith in it because I stream sometimes from my Xbox to like my Surface Pro. And to be honest with you, there's like no latency. Like it's amazing, to be honest with you. So I think the service is going to work well. But for $100, I can take it, when I'm going to one of my buddies' houses, we can do some co-op or whatever. I'm going on vacation. I got like 20 minutes in a hotel room to kill or whatever, for $100, it makes a lot of sense. I had to get a second Xbox One X for the store because I was too tired all the time lugging my Xbox One X from home to the store. It's kind of heavy, a little $100 device that's like, 2-3 pounds. It's perfect.
Right. And another thing, hold on, Fonzie said something about I was contradicting myself. No, I wasn't. I was speaking out for how the internet is in this country. For me, I'm fine. I have the Gigablast. I get 400.
The Gigablast.
Yeah, I get 400 megabytes per second. So I I ain't got a problem. But for somebody like maybe Craft or somebody else, they don't have no issue. Well, that's what Cox Communications call it, the Gigablast. So for like somebody like Delilah HD, she's got the fiber. You know what I'm saying? So she's got the best of the best right now. So I understand other people's concern. I'm not contradicting anything. I'm all for the streaming service box. I'm all for the future of gaming going forward. I'm also, though, in support of what Noof wants, what Crap wants, what you want, Fonz. It's the fact that the options are there. If Microsoft came out and said, look, no, we just want to push this on you, and that's just the future, and you just got to deal with it, then I would be in support of your stance. But for how you're doing it right now, I just think let's let it ride. Let's see how this plays out.
And I'm not buying the stream box either. I just want to put that out there. I'm 100%. I'm going to buy the Scorpio Scarlett, the big console. And I think Dealer said the same thing. I think most of us. Maybe I would try it later, but I'm pretty sure I'm buying the monster.
Just remember, guys, no matter where the industry wants to take us, it's only going to go where your wallet lets it go. Okay. We spoke up loud and clear about the practices that Microsoft wanted to implement back in 2013. They heard loud and clear and they changed immediately. It still works the same way. I said this earlier on Twitter and it applies. Like if you're cool at loot crates, overpriced DLC, updates to up to yin yang, copycat games, massive downloads, broken games, that's on you. Gamers need to speak up. We got to stop being lemmings here. We have to make our voices heard. If you want something cool, push for it. If you don't want something, speak the fuck up. It's like the Call of Duty syndrome. You know, people keep saying every year we want Activision to change Call of Duty. Well, guess what? Every year I see the same people say, I'm going to boycott it. I'm not buying this game. I'm going to speak with my wallet. And guess what happens come November? They're playing Call of Duty online like 2 days later, you know, oh, this game is pretty good. So you can't, if you're gonna, you got to hold firm, man. You got to grab your balls, pull them up and fucking speak loud and clear. You can't be squeaky. Okay. You got to get shit done. And that's how look, remember, guys, we still have the power. We are the consumers. Stop letting industry dictate where they want to take our money.
Great speech, you. I'm buying both.
New speaks the truth.
I mean, no, I'm saying I don't have a problem with anybody's stance of how they feel about it. If they like it, they don't. They love it. They just love it. But as for me, I'm still going to get the Scarlett, and then I'm going to get this device. I want to see how it works, and if it's not worth a damn, I'll get rid of it. I'll go get my money back. So it's just that simple. I just like the fact that there's the option. I think that's the biggest factor that a lot of gamers out here that don't like it are forgetting, that it's an option for us for right now. We don't know what's going to be happening in the next 10, 15 years, but for right now, we have the option. And I still feel that if the gamers speak loud enough, there'll still be games there'll still be big major boxes to still come, but that's up to the gamer. I mean, we talk about DLC and all those things like that and how we dislike those or disapprove of it just to get in the show, and look what happened. People still buy them.
I got to give a shout out to almost 500 people watching us live, guys. Let's try to get up to 300 likes for the end of the show, guys. We appreciate it. Share this bitch around if you can. You know what? I don't think anyone's wrong. I think being overly paranoid about it is harmful to even the discussion. In my opinion, I don't think it'll be the only option. If anything, that's not what's proven to make money. That's not what has ever made money. If it doesn't work, if it doesn't do everything almost right, it will certainly die. It'll basically certainly die. Just like the Zune, right? So they've had things die before, and this might be the next thing. But until then, they're not going to push this thing harder than they do the traditional console. That's where the AAA games, that's where you're getting the best experience, bar none, and that's what gamers want. That's why the Xbox One X outsold the PS4 Pro, because gamers want the better experience. It's just how it is. So I don't. Lethal Papa says, and really, I guess we can all kind of give a take on why people are like this really right now. And it's nothing against any one person. It's just a good question. He says that in the RDX sponsored question, if you want to join the RDX sponsor tier, check out the Patreon link down below. Like I said, we need some more questions from you guys if you're watching. Why are people crying about this streaming console? In a few words or less, Cold Eastwood, sum it up.
They're afraid of change. And they don't understand the technology. We don't understand the technology. So I think they're afraid that gaming's going to change the way they like it. And a lot of us like gaming the way we have it right now.
Yeah.
Well, hey, fiddly diddly, I just said I'm afraid of change. That's why I left my fucking underwear on since last generation. They crusty, but by God, they get comfortable and keep my asshole warm in the wintertime.
Okay, so we all remember the articles when the Xbox One X mopped the floor with the PS4 Pro, right? When it launched?
Yeah.
Oh, vaguely.
Remember? You don't
Yes, I remember.
Okay, T Petty in the chat, he's lost. So maybe next time for you to ask me a question, Google the fuck out of some shit first. All right, bud? All right, so your bottom line, you're just kind of, it's different. You're not really for it. You're all digital still.
No, I'm not digital. Physical. I know what you meant.
Physical, yeah.
Look. I'm all for options. I'm all for supporting the industry wherever they technically take it, want to take it. You know what I mean? Like you can't really criticize and condemn something before you've even seen what it is they're going to bring out. Everything is hearsay. Everything's speculation. You kind of got to do a wait and see. You know, I mean, maybe a couple of years ago, Game Pass probably sounded like a pretty foreign and probably a terrible idea at some point. But you know what? It seems to be working pretty well now. You know what I mean? And even me, who's been a big sort of, I don't really care for digital, having jumped on the Game Pass, the train here over the last little while, I can definitely see the value. I can definitely see, a lot of pros, mostly pros, I guess, wherever they take this industry. Again, options for gamers of all walks of life, of all different incomes is fantastic. People shouldn't be, condemned of playing the worst version of a game because they don't have hardware powerful enough to kind of run the game the way they want. And I think that's where Microsoft is. They want to be, the everything to everyone, options up the yin yang. It's good. But at the same time, as long as they continue to give us options, as Phil alluded to, I still want there to be your traditional Xbox console with a traditional disk drive, even though they basically are just DRM license readers at this point. That's just for me. At some point in time, I may have to change, but I'm an old crusty fuck, and it doesn't come easy for me. So I'll continue to do what I'm going to do. I'll continue to invest my money where I feel I want to spend it, not because somebody tells me to do it. That's how I feel about everything.
Cake Batter in the super chat, brother. Good question. He says, I'll buy one, talking about the streaming box, but once Microsoft hits 2 billion cloud users, will they still listen to the hardcore? By the time that happens, 2 billion cloud users streaming games, that's absolutely insane.
I think everybody's going to be going cloud.
Yeah.
You know what?
That number is kind of crazy, but by that time, you're talking 15, 20 years from now. Yeah. I don't think you're going to be able to tell the difference at all. So, I mean, you got a point, but that's so far out. It's not even something worth thinking about.
I think at least for the next 10 years, I think cloud's going to be a thing. I think in the next 2 to 3 years, it's going to be mainstream. But even so, I think there will always be physical hardware. There's always going to be physical hardware. There's going to be people that don't have internet. There's going to be people that just don't want to go online, whatever. And there's always going to be that option for physical hardware because these companies need to make components, need to make graphic cards. They need to make money. They're not going to close their business down and do everything in the stream. So like the cloud is going to be a thing, but physical hardware will always be there. So you guys out there worried that physical hardware is just going to go away. It's not going to happen, and it's definitely not going to happen anytime soon.
No, it's definitely not. It's people they got concerns, but to me, I'm just like, let's let it happen and see what's going on. So that was a good question, Lethal Papa, man. Appreciate it, brother. And you know what? This happened right after our last show. And like I said, guys, hit that like button if you're here, guys. Share the show. This is kind of our last topic. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. Yeah. They're going to let everyone go fall asleep. The rest of the internet's asleep today. So we had just over 500 people watching live, guys. We appreciate it. But there was a little bit of drama that I covered in my Gamescom video between Major Nelson and everyone's favorite journalist. Who was it, Colt?
Tom Warren.
Turd Warren.
Warren G.
So we were talking about bundles and well, Major Nelson released a Xbox Wired blog that said new hardware and accessories, all new Xbox hardware and accessories, quote unquote, being revealed at Gamescom. Correct? Now he edited that, and it said edited on the editorial. Obviously, Tom Warren tries to ride a sack. He replies, and then Tom Warren gets destroyed all day. So at the end of the day, there's no new Xbox hardware at Gamescom. They're planning on doing an Inside Xbox episode, hopefully a good one this time. And they're going to unveil undoubtedly the Elite, something like the Elite Controller 2.0 maybe, and some new bundles. Rumors are a Forza Horizon 4 bundle, like a custom Xbox One X maybe, or maybe just a regular X with the game. I'm with Colt. I think Sony do custom hardware better than Microsoft do when it comes to custom consoles. Not in the fact that all of them have looked good. Most of them have looked bad on the Sony side. But the fact that you got a custom PS4 Pro with Spider-Man, I've talked to several people that said they're buying it just because it looks cool.
Just because it looks cool.
It's helping them recycle those buyers. and boost sales numbers even further. It's really smart.
I said this. I
Microsoft
think
should start designing more custom consoles with custom paint jobs.
Yeah, I said this. I think my mic might have cut out, but I think it's a really big missed opportunity. They haven't themed the Xbox One X, and no matter what, when you have a good-looking console, people buy it. Like people are like, "Wow, that console looks really good," even though it's only an S, but I want it. Like it's a missed opportunity. And there's actually a couple prominent people in the gaming community that design custom consoles and controllers.
Pope.
Yeah, like Xbox Pope. It's like, and Microsoft is well aware of these guys' talent. It's like, reach out to them, bring them over, and have them design these things and push sales. Because what people do is they'll take their regular console and just go sell it somewhere and use the extra money to buy the shiny new cool colored one or the themed one.
Yeah, just sell some more consoles. It doesn't hurt, and you do make a few bucks on each one, so it kind of drives hype and it gets people kind of reinvigorated. I know people that spend all this money on these cheap little skins that fall off their consoles and stuff. They just want a custom box. Shout out to Darth Vicious. They just want a custom box, and he wasn't even going to buy X until they released a custom colored and painted box, like the Spider-Man one, right? For PlayStation. So
but it happens with a lot of things. I mean, you saw the the large investment in the Xbox One S when they came out with the Gears of War console. A lot of people went out and even got rid of their white Xbox One S just several weeks before, because what was the original S came out in like August. What was it? And the Gears one came out in October, wasn't it? Something like that. So there's people that traded in that one within a couple of weeks to get another one. It's crazy, what people will do for a custom console. And hey, I heard Microsoft was going to do a PUBG custom console for the X, but somebody asked, why is the little soldier dude on the back of the console? And the answer was, that's because he was rubber banding.
Wow. Oh my god!
Hey, others, Microsoft makes great consoles. Well, just because we're asking for more doesn't mean they don't already do something good or okay, right?
Well,
it's okay to ask for more. So I actually disagree. I don't think Microsoft has released one custom Xbox One X, which is what we're talking about, to the mainstream. They've done the Scorpio edition, which is like the day one edition of the base console.
They did the Black Panther. They did a Deadpool, but those were like giveaways.
You can't buy those.
So
boy, I would have been all over that Black Panther, man. I was so I was really jelly for the people that won that, because that was so clean.
Straight Duvall said custom consoles are pointless to me. Yeah, I agree, but like it's crazy how many people buy them. Like they're the first to sell out.
And I wouldn't go. I'm not buying the Spider-Man PS4 Pro. I mean, I wouldn't buy it if it were on the X, a custom version. I'm just saying that it does appeal to a lot of people. People with money to burn, particularly, they want to just get a different console that's a little more unique because they spend a lot of time on the thing. Well, so just because it doesn't appeal to everyone, but it's definitely could be done better on the Xbox.
Again, options.
Here's where Microsoft's messing up. Remember with the 360 guys? Remember one of the first things that came out for the 360 was custom faceplates? Where's that option? Because you know what? If you look at the X in particular is perfect for a custom console shell. All you need to do is put some detachable clips or bolts on the side. You pop it off. You go into a Microsoft store and buy whatever the hell shell you want to put on. You want to get a Black Panther shell? Boom. You want to get a Deadpool? You want to get your favorite football team? You know what I mean? Like they're missing the boat here on massive dollars, and the markup on that shit's unreal. So why the hell somebody hasn't thought of it or implemented it yet is beyond me, because there's a massive market, and then you wouldn't have to get rid of your freaking system constantly either. I guess that's part of the reason maybe they don't do it. It's because people just keep buying systems. But I mean, at the same time, they could be making a ton of money on just custom lids for your Xbox One S or your Xbox One X.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And Others Inc. says, well, it's only 6 months old. That's true. But even now, I think the PS4 Pro didn't have a custom one within 6 months.
Yeah.
Either way, until it gets at least one, we're still going to ask for them to do more. So if that makes sense. Fuzzy Belvedere, he basically says that you should be able to, and I've thought of this as well, maybe design a custom Xbox One X just like you do your controllers at the Design Lab. I think they should have already started doing custom Design Lab consoles a long time ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, there's a big market out there. There's a lot of companies that sell those decals and stickers that you can put on your console, even however you like. I've already seen the Spider-Man theme for the Xbox consoles, so there's a big market for it. So Microsoft should be jumping on top of it, but we all know how their marketing is. So
yeah.
Now Eternal Shadow in the super chat says, so should Microsoft release a custom launch Xbox Scarlett for something like Halo Infinite? I absolutely believe that they should always have some kind of custom launch console, particularly. I think they definitely should have an infinite launch console. Whether or not it comes out right when Scarlet's out, 6 months after, that game should, and it probably will, just like Halo 5, have a custom console. Which should be nice.
Yeah, they did with that. I mean, they had Battlefield 1 or custom. They had well, that was for the S.
Yeah, they had
also
some colors. Yeah,
and the blue for Forza. So I mean, there was and Comic-Con has some of the best Xbox custom consoles that I've ever seen, and I'm like, why do you guys do not jump on this? I mean, I would buy some so quickly, man. I mean, I don't know. But
it's not like Microsoft can't keep like they've got them flying off the shelves so fast. Like they could stop and put on some new shells.
Like I said, Darth Vicious in the chat, he's a massive custom console fan. Like it's really, really important to him. And there's a ton of people out there like him. I convinced him, or tried to convince him, to get the X anyway, because it's so much worth it, especially when you got a 4K set. But he ended up caving and buying them stickers that fall off, you know.
So the rumor is there's a Forza Horizon 4 custom console being shown at Gamescom.
And there was another one. I don't know if this is just made up, but Gears 5 as well. I don't know why they would unveil that at Gamescom unless that leaked release date is actually true, which seems really unlikely. So
what was the last custom Microsoft did? Was it the Minecraft bundle, the green one?
I think it was a Gears 4.
The Minecraft
one's the last custom, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They actually were doing a lot of them in 2014 and 2015. A lot of different bundles, and I don't know, we got away from it.
Guess Chris Crawl, with all the money you just spent in the super chat, bro, you could have probably bought No Man's Sky, man. He's saying, can somebody give me No Man's Sky, please? Hey, hit up Chris Crawl here on YouTube. Send him a DM. Give him a code. But hey, guys, we do appreciate it. Like I said, thanks for showing up, especially when there's not too much going on today. We do appreciate it. Hit that like button on your way out. We're going to do some outros. And once again, guys, myself as well as the rest of the panel, we thank you guys for what you do. You power the show. K-Mega, thanks for coming out, bro. Where can people find you?
Oh, man, they can find me on my channel, K-Mega405. Of course, you can catch me doing stuff with my boy X448, the next podcast, BGST, and GRG. That's on my channel every Friday night at 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. And I think it's like 5:30 Pacific. And you know what? This had to be really special because I'm over here been missing 30 minutes of Rachel Maddow. So let's get to it. So glad to be here, man.
Somebody says, what the fuck? You didn't talk about Kylie Jenner going back to natural lips.
Yeah, I saw that. Damn, for real.
You like that, huh, D?
Wow, D. You got anything to say there?
I just saw it. It's a big difference.
I don't understand the fascination with these fuck faces. I don't even know what she does or why she's going to be a billionaire. I have no clue.
They just hot little chicks. That's all, man.
People were donating money to her to help her become the next billionaire. Like, are you serious? She has freaking 850 million. Why are you donating shit to her?
Why does she have so much money? What does she do?
Cosmetics line and in the family fortune, I guess.
Yeah.
Fucking Christ.
Actually, to be honest with you, she kind of made her own fortune on her own because Kim's not even worth as much. Kim's worth like
she's a model, and she see that.
Guys,
to say that any of them made their own fortune is kind of a that's you can't say.
It started with Daddy's money. Daddy was
I mean, if everyone had $1 million fucking dollars, it's a lot more easier to make $1 million more dollars.
The OJ case.
Everybody in the chat's like, when did RDX turn into TMZ?
Stop it.
Give me that pictures. Give me that video. Oh, you got sex. Yeah, I got it. Yeah. Hey, follow K-Mega. What's your Twitter?
It's at K-Mega4. At K-Mega4.
So he said fuck the O and the 5, just at K-Mega4.
Yep, at K-Mega4. Just go ahead.
Ran out of characters. My phone died when I was making my account.
But don't do that on my YouTube channel. It is K-Mega405. So go ahead and hit that.
Drop by there and drop a dislike or two. D-Batch, man. Hold on, man. Where can people find you?
You guys can catch me on Twitter at _batch, BATCH, and of course on YouTube at DBatch. And tomorrow, finally, I'm putting up my OLED review of the C8, so you guys aren't going to want to miss that. And little spoiler, fantastic TV.
Is it going to be like the ratings review and still be better than any QLED?
You're gonna have to watch to see that. I'm not gonna give it all away, but it's a fantastic TV.
Come on, D. All right. We've also got Noof Nukem, brother. Thanks for joining us once again. The podcast soldier. Where can people find you?
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate being here. Boom, boom, kaboom. Noof is leaving the room. You guys know where to find me. Always in the gutter. You will find me tomorrow night. I will be doing another Mixing It Up with Noof. My guest this time will be Mr. Boomstick XL. Hopefully, I'll see a couple of you guys up in the chat as we talk gaming and play some games. And then on Thursday night, I'll be joining Salty and crew for the Saltiest Gaming Podcast. I hope to see some of you guys out for that one. It's always been fun. Thanks for the invite, dealers. A pleasure to be here. Great panel. I love these guys. They're fantastic. And I can't wait to come back again sometime.
Oh, of course. And shout out to Shady. I have no fucking clue what happened to that guy. Hopefully he's still alive. Haven't heard from him. But I'm sure his ghost wishes he was here. So
vasectomy?
Oh, maybe another one. Speaking of vasectomy, Colt Eastwood, man, where can people find you?
You can find me at Colt Eastwood on Twitter and Colt Eastwood on YouTube. And tonight you may find me in No Man's Sky.
Wow. I mean,
yeah,
if it's like,
I really
want version, they just never find you.
Yeah, but hopefully it's good. But some of the stuff was heated today. That split between the stream and every consoles and stuff. But I think it's going to be good. I think we're going to have a good time, and I'm waiting for next gen already. So why not?
Yep. Why not? We'll see. Options are good no matter what. And if they're not meant to be, if they're not working, and as pro consumers, Microsoft been really, I don't see them doing.
I already know what I want, so I'm not like too worried about it. So I'm just happy.
Traditional console. And also check out Colt's channel. He released a video yesterday. I released 2 videos yesterday. If you guys haven't seen those, give those a like.
Spam.
And we do appreciate it. Like I said, guys, we are out of here.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
I signed up twice.
Be nice.